जयपुर वाया कोटा
कृपया ध्यान आपो अहमदाबाद
दिल्ली में आपका स्वागत
Lucknow Junction.
ನಿಲ್ದಾಣದ ಕಡೆಗೆ ಹೊರಟಿರುವರೆ
Hyderabad को 50 एक्सप्रेस পরবর্তী স্টেশন নেতাজি ভবন कृपया ध्यान दियो
They say you are the company you keep, and so I decided to spend this Saturday evening with two very fine gentlemen with refined tastes, two people who have great culinary preferences as well, two people who love food. One of them loves Indian food a lot more than the Indian in this studio. I'm joined by Bhattacharjya and the great Adam Gilchrist. Mr. Gilchrist, I've been told that you've spent all this day researching gut health.
Good evening to both of you.
Yep.
What I will say, I've been coming to India for 28 years. Never had one issue with the food, with getting sick. I take on everything. I'm the only Australian cricketer that puts on weight in India because I eat so much of it. I spend one night with you as host.
Hang on.
Correction. And you get the reins to order dinner.
Evening.
Yeah.
One evening.
One evening with you in the house. And I have had I've had a rough day, but I'm here. But yeah, I do come back where I say, Army, please, someone who can order the food properly. I don't know what we ate last night, but
It doesn't take Sherlock Holmes to tell you what's happened out here.
A 21-year-old scar has been healed, Gilly. I could never play for India, but I had to get back at you. It was part of Project 359. Why would you be so cruel to us? 359 in a World Cup final? Who does that, Gilly?
So this is planned, was it, last night?
21 years I've had to wait.
The Chinese and, wow.
Indian Chinese. We had some help
2003,
from our
you've been
neighbours.
waiting for 21 years to get me back. Gee, I'd hate to see what you can do to Ricky Ponting.
Pana,
I was a failure in that game.
failure.
Well, I reckon I nearly got the lowest score. I got 50 odd.
58 or 47 or whatever, a strike rate of 118, 8 fours, 1 6, caught Sehwag, Bol Harbhajan.
Yeah.
It's a scar that shall never heal, I suppose.
We have now... There are too many fresh scars. I'm sorry. Let's not talk about scars not healing, because I'll remember November 19th and this conversation will go to...
Oh my
What
God.
I'll say is I'm good, mate. I'm good. It's just nice to know that I'm alive and well and can't wait to get into...
Culinary baptism by fire for Adam Gilchrist in the house on Cricbuzz Live. Now, today is also about 4 Aussies, one of them not playing, of course, Ricky Ponting, David Warner, Travis Head, Pat Cummins, 4 people who have tormented India on different occasions. It's DC versus SRH. This is DC's first proper home game. Remember, they played 2 home games in Vizag, 1-1. Lost 1. DC have won their last 2 games and they play at the Arun Jaitley Stadium in Kotla. They're up against the mighty SRH. I never thought I'd use the word mighty for SRH when we did the auction show. Joy?
No, absolutely. In fact, we saw the auction show, and the one thing that we were thinking is that when you have 4 proper international players, you get in a Pat Cummins, it's okay. But then you make him captain, that means you're giving him one place.
Yep.
And the other 3, then how does it work? And, they already looked as if they had too many openers.
Yep.
They made 2 decisions out there, both of which seemed very spurious in the moment of it. And I'm delighted to say they've proven us wrong totally.
Yep.
I think Pat Cummins, this is the year Pat Cummins has adapted and said, I've conquered tests. I think I've won a World Cup champion, 50-over championship as well. Let me try T20 next. And I think he is, oh boy, has he taken to the sport.
Yep, he's taken to it like fish to water. Pat Cummins has had a great time as captain over the last couple of years now. They're up against the Delhi Capitals, who won the toss and chosen to chase against the big hitting, the belligerent, the ridiculous batting side that SRH are. On this track, 59-meter boundary on one side, 67 on the other. 6 hitting should be easy, as it was for you, Gilly.
Yeah, it can be a bit dangerous on these sort of grounds where you get a bit over exuberant and chasing sixes and playing the big shots. But there's no doubt about it. It looked like the pitch report looks like a beautiful wicket. Big Kevin Peterson and Matthew Hayden were out there, two imposing figures in Australian cricket. I don't remember them being that friendly and pally when we played against each other, but they were high-fiving and cuddles and nicknames, but it looked like a rock-hard pitch, and they were making the observation a little bit of grass, not necessarily really live green grass, but certainly more presence of that straw-coloured grass, which can bind it together, means it may not fall apart at all in the evening. And they spoke that the groundsman spoke of a little bit of dew perhaps coming in. So it looks like a smart decision. You suspect it's going to be a high-scoring affair. Yeah,
well, DC are at number 6 on the points table. They have the opportunity to go into the top half of the table. SRH find themselves at 4 with 4 wins in 6 matches. They've been the in-form team. They've been the magnet of this league in a sense because of the quality of batting they've put on display. Delhi sort of came back to winning ways in their last 2 games, beat GT, beat LSG as well. Joy, safe to say that this year, with the kind of pitch they have prepared for this first game, they do have the team for pretty much all conditions.
Who, Delhi you're talking?
Yeah, Delhi.
Look, I think Delhi was always looked upon as a strong team, which somewhere some of their pieces fell apart. But the problem with Delhi is that, once Mitch Marsh is gone, their balance is a bit being impacted because, Mitch Marsh was not just, he gave you 2-3 overs with the ball as well. Yeah. And I think that's what's happened there is somewhere, they lost a couple of players. Then Kuldeep and Mukesh came back, and I thought somewhere they found it within themselves, whether it's Ponting, what Saurav has helped, to really come out firing. And I think that match against Chennai was a very important match for them because had they lost that match, they would have been it would have been what RCB, we are looking at RCB today. And I think they turned it around. Kuldeep bowled beautifully. That is what's happened. Kuldeep and Mukesh coming back and Jake Fraser-McGurk giving them starts has changed a lot of things.
Now, we in India, lots of cricket geeks love talking about home advantage and away record and things like that. Gilly, as captain, you won an IPL in South Africa where there was no home and away. Is it really a factor? Because conditions are sort of similar all across. Conditions are known to all teams. There's no hidden secret. Does it really matter, home advantage?
It can do. I think stats would say that Chennai clearly feel like they have a home advantage, whether it's a blend of pitch conditions and crowd and ground dimension. I mean, the grounds are all pretty small as a general statement compared to a lot of grounds around the world. But this one today is particularly small. But Delhi haven't played here well historically. Yeah. So, and RCB don't have a winning percentage at their home ground. So it's... there's Delhi's run at Feroza Kotla or Aaron Jaitley Stadium. So you can see there, the stats show that there's no significant advantage for this Delhi outfit.
Now, Joy, when you talk of great IPL teams, of course, MI and CSK, MI at the Wankhede, 60% matches they won, 71% win percentage for CSK at Chepauk. Is that how great franchises are built?
See, what happens there, 2-3 things. One is that Chepauk has always been something that has suited spin. They've always got a team together that plays spin well and bowls spin well. And lots of options. So they have always adapted to the conditions that they have. Because what happens is if you think if you can win 5 at home and then say that you sneaked at least 3-4 wins in the road, then you're always going to be 8 or 9, which is why Chennai has more than any other team perhaps is that amazing consistency. They keep making it because they win so much at home. They just need to win 2 or 3 away. And mind you, they get blown away every once in a while away. But because they win so much at home, they manage to balance it out. Crowd also plays a factor. Similarly, Mumbai also. Mumbai likes small ground, pace bowlers, hit the deck, batters who can really hit it out of the ground. So they also pick a team. Mumbai also picks teams for Mumbai. One of the problems that has been is for that to happen, you also need the curator to play ball.
That's such a really good point. And you're spot on about CSK and Mumbai, and the stats show that. But to know that you are going to have consistently the same type of pitch, the same style, it's not going to go one way one year and one way another and chop and change. And that, of course, that's going to affect you at the auction table. And as you try and construct a team, it's going to affect who you retain, first and foremost. And then that's your spine. And then you get at the auction table, you're trying to add the flesh to it. So It's
I know that there's been a lot of frustration in Delhi. The curator of the Firozshah Kotla and Delhi Capitals have been at war for quite a while, ever since they've been the Delhi Daredevils, because, they obviously want a pitch to suit their conditions, and that they've not really ever got it in their life. Kolkata, I remember in the peak of Kolkata, with pitches would turn sideways and you had 3 spinners. And then what happened? 15-16 happened, the pitch got relayed. They've no longer got those real spinning wickets that you have.
Yeah.
But that's one thing. That is a very important part of it. Crowd is one part, but the curator and the pitch is a huge part of how you play it. And I think Delhi, this is at least a pitch slightly better suited to the kind of players they have.
Yes, that's what they're saying. It's going to play a lot better than it did last year. Now, Delhi have won the toss and they've chosen to bowl first. And as Gilly expected, he spoke to us about it just before we came into the studio. The big guns are in the mix. Henrik Nokia is back. David Warner is back. Let's take a look at the Delhi 11. This is, of course, their bowling first 11. Last game, they had just 3 foreign players. This game, they've got their 4 foreigners. Nokia, Lalit Yadav comes in. Out goes Sumit and Ishant Sharma isn't playing because he had a back spasm right towards the end, just before the toss. So they had to make that last-minute change. But the return of Nokia, as expected for you, Gilly?
Yeah, I like that. Obviously, Rishabh Pant is, Prithvi Shaw's obviously on the subs list. That's their bowling team, isn't it?
Yep.
So I would assume Prithvi's on the impact list. But Nokia coming back in, excuse me, I really like it. I think he could be the key tonight. It's a high-risk, high-return policy that I'm about to say on this ground against these 2 opening batters from Hyderabad.
Yep.
But I think they've got to try something different. So pace, and I would be taking Travis Head on with the short ball. Yeah. Now you go, hang on, it's 57, 58 metres. Yeah. A miss hit's going to go for 6, but if you get in his zone, he's going to hit you for 6 anyway. A lot of teams, I'm surprised it doesn't quite happen as much to Travis Head. New Zealand exploited it in Test cricket. Take him on short, up under the armpit. He doesn't particularly like it. He tries to ride it around, and that's Test cricket okay, but even in 50-over cricket, even T20 cricket, make a statement. Fight fire with fire. Don't come in conservatively going, oh, geez, if we can just get it up there and he might hit one up in the air. Just come in and say, righto, we're taking you on. We've got a plan. But just 2 back on the leg side. Norca, get it up under there. Get fight fire with fire. Say, Travis, hit it for 6. Good on you. And he may well do, but... It also might mean that the one ball that does come up back of a good length, he's sort of waiting for it here, and then your feet aren't going. So just start some mind games a little bit. They've got to roll the dice on something different, and I think that's a really positive move. Now,
James Hopes referred to SRH as the freight team. Tell me what he meant when he said that. Also, bringing out the big guns for this big game. They know SRH is the big batting side. You pull out your howitzer missile in a sense with Warner back and Henrik Nokia back. Is this the Ponting effect?
No, it's like a freight train is literally a train which is loaded, and in his part of the world, especially for Western Australia, going across the outback, you have trains that are 3 kilometers long. So they are unstoppable. So when they say a freight train, it means a huge object that's just coming at high speed.
There's too much momentum behind it to slow it down. That's really the terminology, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. So my point is only that, you've made a very interesting point, because also when these 2 batters go out there, they're batting first, what's a good total?
Yeah.
Because is 220 a good total, 240 a good total? Do you chase 240 and get out for 150? So it puts a lot of, because you don't really know what's a good total at this point on this ground, especially when there's due following.
Yeah.
So one of the problems with batters is they will tend to be, and as it is, this team plays that cricket that way. They tend to be over-aggressive. See, if you notice what Pat Cummins has said, he's also said that, there are going to be times they were going to get shot out for 90, 100. He's not said that, but he says it's not going to come off all the time.
Yeah.
But they're going to play it this way. So they are going to play this one way. I'll be very interested in saying if Delhi does what he says. Because one thing I've said, I believe, Gilly, in this tournament, bowlers have not used the 2-bouncer rule as well as they could have.
Yeah.
Did they overuse it at the start of the league? And is that why teams have said, let's not overdo it? We saw that happening with a few teams. They kept sort of trying to use that 2-bounce rule. And
so I want to go to Gilly on that, but my observation is, how do you use it well? If you set him up, you do 1 bouncer, he sees the effect, and then he's he's got to be waiting for the other. You don't use it immediately. You hold it in your hand because he's got that other bouncer still with him. So he can't run at you. He can't do things at you. That's what the other bouncer is about. It's not so much about using the second bouncer as the batter knowing that it's there in your hands.
Yeah, well, Nokia v Travis Head will be a contest worth watching. What's SRH's batting first lineup looking like? Lots of options. Travis Head, Abhishek Sharma at the top, Henrik Klaasen managing the middle order. There is the very impressive Nitish Reddy as well, who's allowed the team a lot of balance. Shahbaz Ahmed continues to impress. Pat Cummins has enjoyed captaining a T20 side. Bhuvneshwar Kumar is an area of concern, but this lineup pretty much has everything. Gilly?
Yeah, they've got most bases covered there. Mark Hahn, the spinner, that's been a bit of a question mark, but he's taken a few wickets. He got Virat out, didn't he? A very vital wicket because Virat was looking good. Bowled him a nice wrong. And, power all the way down there, right the way through. Pat Cummins as captain, he's just come on and sprinkled his magic fairy dust that he does in everything he plays, every format he plays. It's funny that point about, you mentioned the Aussies. You could almost say Dan Vittori too, because he's spending enough time around the Australian cricket time now as Australian cricket team.
You adopted him, okay?
I think they went into that auction to get Travis Head, knowing full well that he was going to be opening the batting in this franchise. I don't know. I haven't spoken to Pat and Dan, but I reckon maybe they allowed the first game to go by just to see what had been happening before. Don't come in and power in and say, right, we're here. This is the way we're doing it. We'll just ease into it, and gave Travis one game. Well, Travis missed out on one game, and then they went, no, that's the change we want to make now, and away we go. And Travis has paid dividends. But it's an interesting, really strong relationship between Travis and Pat. The respect that Travis has for his captain and the way he's helped change his career, really.
There's also an interesting relationship between Travis and opposition teams that wear blue. Hashtag 19 November. This does well and troubles all of us.
This show was going well so far.
It was. Well, we've got to face it, can't live in denial. But today, there will be enough Indians in that beautiful city of Hyderabad egging Travis Head on. He's got a youngster in Abhishek Sharma alongside another young Sharma for Indian cricket who's done well. Have these two been the most impressive openers? Because in the power play, they've been looting runs. The strike rate is over 200 for both of them. Scary opening lineup, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I have to say, they are so far the most impressive. They're the most scary, you're right. I mean, they're intimidating and they're going after bowlers, and what they're doing is they're going from both ends.
Yep.
And if you're going from both ends, that means the bowlers really have nowhere to hide.
Yep.
That's one. The second is Abhishek Sharma is a very decent player of spin as well. So if you toss the ball to a spinner early on, he can really attack. And I just want to, because when you think of intimidating opening pairs, there's a gentleman to my left, to my right who knows a little bit about it. So when you and Gilly went out,
Ados.
When you and Ados went out, what did you decide that, okay, I'm going to take him on? Did you discuss a lot in between? Did you pre-decide a few things when you walked out against a particular opposition?
Yeah, a little bit. I'll take you back to, not another generation, but earlier in my career where I started batting in one-day cricket with Mark Waugh. And it's funny how you go through different phases or transitions in your career. Mark Waugh was pushed up to the top of the order in 50-over cricket, if you remember, around the 96 World Cup. To be a little bit more aggressive, Mark Taylor was at the other end. He was seen as the old Jeff Marsh. This is for the really old fellas, like us, not you. But, Jeff Marsh was an anchor role. Mark Taylor was an anchor role. Whereas Mark Waugh went in there to be the aggressor and had 300s, I think, in the World Cup over here, 96. And away he went being the more aggressive player. And then when I came in 99, all of a sudden I was being told to be the aggressor and he was a bit more that elder statesman, crafty, use his touch. He used to say to me, just take the scoreboard out of your mind for 5 overs. Gilly, do not look at the scoreboard. Please don't. Because for 5 overs, he said, you just don't need to worry about it. Just watch the ball and treat it on its merits. And so that was really good advice for me, because the moment that I premeditated and went, I've got to, we haven't hit a boundary, or I've got to take this guy down, I was in trouble. If I had a clear mind, watch the ball, react. That was my best format, best motivation. But with Haydos, he was very much more calculated. He was more of a thinker and a planner by way of, he'd look at the opposition bowlers and go, well, that guy I can get. That guy, I like, his sweep was just as good as anyone. So he would say, look, I'm happy here. We didn't knock back singles, or you wouldn't do anything that dramatic, but you were aware of it. So maybe my job was just to try to get one off strike, get him back on, knowing that he was going to impose himself. There was one particular game against England in a 50-over game where he just, I sort of watched the bowler running in, and you watch him deliver it to make sure, and it felt like Haydos was about 2 metres away from me. Like he was just walking down the pitch, and
with that bat in his hand.
Now talking to opposition players at the time, that the first thing they say about Haydos is just how intimidating he was, which is extraordinary to say. His stature, his physique, and he'd come out and do all his little rituals and sit down and squat down and touch the earth and hold the game up for about 5 minutes while he went through his routine. But he got himself in his comfort zone. But he was definitely targeted certain bowlers, and that was more the communication. So it's going to be a different actions with different partnerships. But these two, they're clicking. Whatever the case is, they're both being given a licence to go out there and be aggressive.
Is there this Aussie DNA at the heart of SRH's batting philosophy in the power play?
It seems like that. And isn't it ironic that I think Australia as a T20 team was quite slow on the uptake of T20 internationals and being competitive. I mean, it took us forever to get there finally and get a trophy, let alone be competitive. But there is an Australian captain who I made reference of his relationship with Travis when Travis was out of the Australian team but then came back in. I think Pat and he had a very open, honest discussion, and Pat really said, look, I want you to be who you are, your natural game, and I will, as captain, back you all the way. Be flamboyant, just be yourself and take it on and play with, it's a well-used term, but play with freedom, complete freedom. And that, for those that don't quite understand, that's just freeing your mind up. Just go out there, don't be hesitant, don't be thinking, oh no. Oh, I read amazing quote from KL Rahul. Yep. Came out of, I think it was Ashwin's podcast.
Yep.
He said, I think it was any regrets, and if there's one thing you'd like to go back and change, and he spoke about the World Cup final last year, and not to bring it up on purpose, but a great insight into mindset and about going out there when someone says, go out there, free your mind, play with freedom and express yourself. Yep. KL clearly wasn't able to do it on that big stage. He did it last night. Beautifully, and hopefully for him, long may that continue.
Against a team in yellow, but 5 months too late. On the same day, on the 19th of the month. Exactly 5 months too late. But we won't go there. Now, when Abhishek Sharma and Travis Head do well, it sort of unleashes a monster in Henrik Klaasen towards the latter half of the innings, and he enjoys hitting sixes. He's almost like a golfer masquerading as a cricketer. Look at the number of sixes he has hit. We'll take a look at that number later. But in some interview, he spoke about the technique that he's applied on his six-hitting abilities. He spoke about the swing of his bat. He's worked a fair bit with Albie Morkel, working on a few technical things. Now, Gilly can tell us a little more about the launch angle and the bat swing and things like that. Gilly, what do you make of it?
Yeah, it's interesting. I reckon back in 1999, it was the first time I saw another South African actually in the nets practicing range hitting. And it was Lance Klusener, who was player of the tournament, and just literally having a bat, but then at the end of it, just practicing hitting sixes. Now, I don't know about you guys, if in junior cricket, any junior cricket you played, but we used to get in trouble from the coaches if you just stood there whacking every ball out. They'd go, all right, get out, you're wasting your time. But that was the early stages of it, 99, and this is what these guys do now. So shape, that's just getting yourself in a good position and making sure you're not, your leg's not going too far, then you're reaching for the ball. So it's a nice solid foundation, and then just, I think more so it's about picking up length for him. So the bat angle. So if you think about a traditional cover drive, we were told get your elbow up to get your bat on the right angle to hit the ball down into the ground. That's what all the textbooks said for years. Throw that away now. Keep it for Test cricket, but for this bat angle, so you want to get the right angle to launch the ball for a six. So it's It's just practicing the same, going over and over and over the same drill. So for forward defence, you're doing it like that. For hitting sixes, you're just repeating the same action of getting, and then what that's doing is teaching you about length, judgment of length. So if it's a bit shorter, you adjust it, you might hold your stroke a bit longer and then get a better launch angle. If it's a bit fuller, you've got to get through it a bit quicker to be able to get the angle and launch it. So don't want to get too technical with it, but that's all it is. It's still just getting the right angle for a desired result. But don't underestimate how challenging it is to do it so consistently.
White ball cricket, batting is a different sport these days.
Geometry with muscle memory.
Muscle memory is it, isn't it? Yeah.
So they keep doing it till the ball hand just keeps going. And it's all so many other factors. But I mean, some things you can't teach. Timing is something, bat speed,
right.
those are something which are natural.
24 sixes, how much of it is it mental? Henry Klaasen, 24 sixes, is it about taking the fear out of the equation and saying, I'm going to back myself to not just clear the boundary, but hit it out of the park? I mean, batters are hitting 90-metre sixes, 105-metre sixes.
Yeah, I've got a feeling I might have hit 24 sixes in 1 year of the IPL. If it wasn't the most in the season, it was close. In a season.
I think it was the most.
We're halfway. We're halfway.
Exactly at the halfway mark.
So that shows, the whole game's moved on a lot in the short lifespan of the IPL. He spoke, there was a great quote maybe a week ago where he spoke about having this feeling of being in the shadow and the expectation of following AB de Villiers. But at some point, he's unlocked his mind. He's playing with freedom. He's going out there uninhibited by anything else and just saying, that's my role. And obviously Pat is saying, go for it, mate. I'm backing you in.
Yep, clearly Henry Klaasen, the big threat. However, Delhi Capitals have got their own weapon as well to stop this man from going big. And the name is Kuldeep Yadav. Second best economy so far in this league. He's missed out on a couple of games. In only 4 matches, he's bowling with an economy of 6.06. Joy, how do you see this matchup between Kuldeep and Henry Klaasen?
Look, I think it's going to be a fascinating matchup. It's not just those two, but the interesting thing is a lot of Klaasen's sixes are straight. He hits a lot in the arc. So for him to be able to do that, to pick Kuldeep, he's either got to sit back and wait for it, which is not going to be that easy. So I'd be very interested in seeing how he takes on Kuldeep. But just one question here is Kuldeep, you've seen Brad Hawk for a long time, Western Australia. Are they similar bowlers? Are they different? What are they like?
I think both attacking bowlers. That's what I see. And I think that's what Kuldeep's done. He's been prepared to go up and go at the stumps. And you look at the dismissals. I went back and looked at all his dismissals in this tournament so far. And generally, I mean, he got, I think, KL Rahul with a wide one that he edged. But the rest of them were pitching in line. A few of them going on would have. You got Butler with one LBW. You got one through the gate, which was a beautiful piece of bowling of Nicky P. But I suspect Hoggy was a fraction quicker through the air than Kuldeep. But, again, it's hard to tell without being out there and having checked the speeds of delivery, but both very attacking bowlers. It's a nice comparison, actually, because Hoggy was a wonderful... Hoggy could go the journey a few times because he's as most wrist spinners can, but whether it's left arm or right arm. But they're wonderful people to have in your team. They're a wonderful option to have because they've got that doubt. And I'm not sure everyone picks Kuldeep either.
Yeah, that's the thing. And in fact, Kuldeep has recently made a statement saying that he's also deliberately slowed his bowling down just a little bit.
That's my observation. I reckon he's just a bit more flighted through the air for T20 cricket.
This is, of course, the season of printing boarding passes. Does he have one already?
Oh, God, yeah.
Of course he does.
Yeah.
Now, quick
he's
look
just a great variety of the spin that's on offer. He's a wonderful variation to have.
Big impact is what Kuldeep Yadav creates every time he takes the field, especially when he's fit. He likes playing with Ponting alongside, so that combination has really worked. Let's take a look at the impact subs list for Delhi. No Ishant Sharma today. Sumit goes out. In comes Andrik Noke. Who do they come in with when they bat second? Prithvi Shaw.
That's a no-brainer, that one, isn't it?
No-brainer, that one. Right. What about SRH? They've gone in unchanged, really. What are their options like?
Gee. Who's that bloke at the top?
Where has he been?
Who's that?
Where has he been?
He's been in the impact player graveyard, hasn't he?
Yep, impact player.
So they're batting first. So bowling-wise, I mean, they may inject him in
Could be,
whilst they're batting.
if they
to
collapse,
get a bit
they'll
of both
get
out
him.
of him.
Yeah. If they collapse, if they they lose few early wickets, it go to Washington or Anmolpreet.
Or Akash
Otherwise,
Singh, the left armour.
Yeah, or they could definitely look at Umran as one of the bowling options as well. If the pitch is as fast as they say it is,
Yep.
it is. But it's a risky call. But again, you don't know how. See, all depends on the total. If you say, for example, get 220, 230, you might bowl in a particular way. You get 180, 170, you might want to change your bowling around. You can take more risks when you have a slightly larger total. So it all depends.
Right. Joy Bhattacharjya has always had an impact on Cricbuzz Live. These days, he is trying to project himself like a really strict teacher. Take a look at the photograph in this graphic.
Very stern look.
And then,
Headmaster like.
Professor Stern. Mr. Bhattacharjya.
I don't know. They choose the pictures.
Well, you post for it. Let's bring up the question, the Joy Factor question for Saturday evening. Take a look at Joy.
Jeez, I'm intimidated.
Okay.
Get this if you
Is that
can.
Matthew Hayden?
I love it. If it's Rashid Khan for Afghanistan, Ian Craig for Australia, Waqar Yunus for Pakistan and Graeme Smith for South Africa, who is it for India? I think you know the logic of it.
Yeah, I don't know the answer, but I know where you're going.
Yeah, he knows where I'm going.
You guys and girls have 3 hours to crack it because Professor Joy is not in a very kind mood. He's strict. Who knows? You reckon he need to change his expression?
Listen.
Not
You've
very-
been giving me enough trouble about this and giving thumbs up and making
This is a
it look
different
like
photograph. Joy, tough questions and that tough look on your face doesn't make life
actually,
easier.
No, it's probably the right image for the type of questions. He's not going to give them away, and he wants to make sure there's no cheating going on either. He's looking over, making sure you're not exchanging notes.
3 hours is what you guys have to crack it. Let us know your answers, and I promise to show you a smilier, happier picture of Joy. And a thumbs up from Adam Gilchrist. Quick predictions, gentlemen. Delhi bowling first.
I believe you got 2 and 2 yesterday.
I did get both of them yesterday, yes.
he's in a
Abhishek Sharma, Travis Head.
Yeah, gee, it's tempting to go really big, isn't it? But I'm going to go 202. Not massive, but
59 meters boundary on one side. Strike rate 200 plus. Sharma and Head.
I'm going to go. I was really tempted to go low, and I think I should, but I will go 214.
214, 202. I'm going to go 191.
ooh.
I need a bit of luck. You guys send in your predictions as well, and we'll see you at the halfway mark on Cricbuzz Live. Bye-bye.
Jaipur via Kota.
कृपया ध्यान आपो अहमदाबाद
दिल्ली में आपका स्वागत
ನಿಲ್ದಾಣದ ಕಡೆಗೆ ಹೊರಟಿರುವರೆ
Hyderabad को 50 एक्सप्रेस পরবর্তী স্টেশন নেতাজি ভবন कृपया ध्यान दियो